The tragic story begins with Ahmed Al-Farsi, a well-respected man from a wealthy family in Dubai. Ahmed had established himself as a successful businessman, deeply rooted in his traditions and Muslim values. His reputation in the community was impeccable, known for his professionalism, family values, and strong moral standing. He had been raised with these principles, and his life had been calm and predictable until he met Nadia, his bride-to-be. Nadia, a beautiful and enigmatic woman, entered Ahmed's life under mysterious circumstances. She was originally from a conservative Middle Eastern country, and her past was one she kept hidden from the public eye. Raised in an environment where secrecy was necessary for survival, Nadia had transitioned into a woman years before meeting Ahmed. She had undergone gender reassignment surgery in the past, but this part of her life was a well-guarded secret. Nadia moved to Dubai, hoping for a fresh start in a more cosmopolitan city, but still the shadow of her past loomed over her. Their meeting seemed like fate. Nadia quickly captivated Ahmed with her charm, beauty, and the soft elegance she carried with her. The couple's courtship was swift, and they were soon engaged. Both families were thrilled with the match, believing the two were perfectly suited for each other. The wedding preparations were grand and celebratory, an event that symbolized the union of two important families. But beneath the surface, Nadia harbored a secret that, if revealed, could destroy everything. As the wedding night approached, Nadia felt the weight of her secret press heavily on her heart. She knew that she could no longer keep hiding her truth, and this night would be the moment of reckoning. However, when the time came, the situation unfolded far differently than she had imagined. As Ahmed and Nadia prepared for their wedding night, Ahmed began noticing something about Nadia's body that felt unfamiliar to him. The realization that something was not quite right set off a series of suspicions in his mind. Overcome with curiosity and confusion, Ahmed confronted Nadia, demanding the truth. In a moment of overwhelming guilt, Nadia confessed. She revealed that she had once been a man and had undergone surgery to transition into a woman. Her voice shook as she explained her past, pleading for Ahmed's understanding. She hoped that he would see her as the person she had become, not as the person she had become, not as the person she had been. But instead of the acceptance she had hoped for, Ahmed's world shattered in that moment. The realization that his bride had kept such a monumental secret from him filled him with feelings of betrayal and disbelief. He struggled to reconcile the woman he loved with the truth of her past. What followed was a violent and tragic escalation. Ahmed's anger and confusion turned into uncontrollable rage. Words were exchanged between the two, filled with hurt, frustration, and pain. Ahmed could not comprehend why Nadia had kept such a significant detail hidden from him. His mind, clouded with disbelief, reacted violently. In a state of fury, Ahmed reached for a knife that had originally been used to cut their wedding cake. In an instant, he struck out at Nadia, beheading her in a brutal act that stunned even him. The crime took place in their opulent Dubai penthouse, which had once been a symbol of their promising future together. But on that night, it became a place of horror. The lifeless body of Nadia lay on the floor, blood staining the once pristine space. By the time authorities arrived, it was too late to save her. Nadia's tragic death left a bloody mark not only on her life, but also on Ahmed's, shattering everything that he had known. The police investigation into the murder began swiftly after the discovery of Nadia's body. The crime scene was grim, with blood spattered across the floor and signs of a violent altercation. Forensic evidence began to paint a chilling picture. The weapon used, a sharp knife, had left clear traces of Nadia's blood. Surveillance footage from the building's security cameras showed Ahmed acting erratically before and after the crime, his movements betraying a deep emotional disturbance. As investigators began to piece together the events leading up to the crime, it became clear that Ahmed had struggled with intense emotional turmoil after learning of Nadia's secret. His contradictory statements during questioning suggested that his state of mind had been severely affected by the shocking revelation. Ahmed was arrested shortly after the crime. He appeared to be in a daze, struggling to explain his actions coherently. His family, who had always held him in high regard, were left in disbelief, unable to comprehend how their beloved son had committed such a violent act. His first statements were unclear, and his behavior seemed inconsistent with the gravity of what had just happened. Investigators quickly realized that Ahmed's emotions, while clearly intense, had led him to take extreme measures. The case soon took on national significance, with the media and public questioning Ahmed's motives. The courtroom became a stage for intense legal battles, as Ahmed's defense team argued that his actions had been the result of a temporary breakdown in mental state. They painted a picture of a man who had been unable to cope with the shock of Nadia's revelation, unable to process the betrayal in a moment of emotional instability. However, the prosecution took a different approach, arguing that the murder was premeditated. Forensic evidence suggested that Ahmed had carefully prepared the weapon and had taken time to reflect before carrying out the crime. His calm demeanor after the attack further indicated a lack of immediate emotional breakdown, leading the prosecution to assert that Ahmed had made a calculated decision to end Nadia's life. In the midst of the trial, the investigation uncovered key pieces of evidence that shed light on the events leading up to the crime. Witnesses from the building reported hearing loud arguments emanating from the penthouse just before the murder took place. Nadia's medical records, which had been hidden in the apartment, revealed the truth about her past. She had undergone gender reassignment surgery years prior, a secret she had kept from everyone, including Ahmed. These records were pivotal in establishing that Nadia had concealed an important part of her life from her new husband. DNA analysis confirmed the violent nature of the attack. The weapon used was a sharp knife, and the forensic evidence left no doubt that the murder was a brutal act. Despite his attempt to clean the crime scene, Ahmed's efforts were futile. Investigators were able to reconstruct the timeline of events, showing that Ahmed had become increasingly agitated in the hours leading up to the murder. The evidence made it clear that this was not an impulsive act of rage, but rather a tragic culmination of emotional turmoil and deeply entrenched values. The impact of Nadia's death reverberated through the community. The crime, which occurred within the close-knit Dubai society, shocked many, particularly as it revealed the tragic consequences of living in a society where personal identity could be hidden out of fear. For the LGBTQ+ community, Nadia's death was a stark reminder of the dangers faced by transgender individuals in conservative environments. Activists and supporters called for justice, hoping that Nadia's tragic end would lead to more awareness and acceptance for transgender individuals in the region. On the other hand, Ahmed's supporters found themselves divided. Many saw his actions as a result of a deep cultural and emotional conflict, a response to a violation of deeply held values. Some sympathized with his emotional breakdown, believing that his reaction, though extreme, was understandable given the circumstances. However, this view was controversial, and many criticized it as an excuse for violence. The case sparked debates on the treatment of transgender individuals and the need for more inclusive policies, as well as the importance of understanding gender identity in societies that are often rigid and unforgiving. The case also brought attention to the broader issue of honor within traditional communities. For many in Dubai, Ahmed's actions were seen as a defense of his honor, although his actions took a life. This sparked conversations about the complex relationship between personal honor, societal expectations, and the consequences of violence. The case forced many to reconsider their views on gender, identity, and acceptance, and the events that followed would shape public discourse in the region for years to come. In the end, the murder of Nadia was not just a crime of passion. It was a tragic reminder of the pressures that people face in societies that demand conformity. It was a painful illustration of how deeply rooted cultural norms can sometimes lead to devastating consequences when individuals feel unable to express their true selves. For Ahmed, the price of his actions would be steep, as his life was forever changed by the violent act he committed. No. His family's reputation was tarnished, and the consequences of his crime would haunt him for the rest of his life. The case also left a lasting impact on the community, challenging the views of many and forcing a reckoning with the way gender and identity are understood in the modern world.